Thanks, Michael. Good to be here talking about soil on the national stage and to see you indeed in all three dimensions. Someone's already mentioned, how do you explain what soil is to maybe people that aren't familiar with it? Well, I describe soil as that fascinating intersection between the living, the dead, the mineral and the atmosphere or the gas. It's that very, very special material that all of those things come together in. So yeah, I lead Program 2 and we're about soil performance metrics. And look, my job really here today is just to thank all the people that have contributed to Program 2 and its success despite all the challenges we've had with COVID. That's all I really want to say today. And to the administrators and Michael with the Soil CRC to allow us to do the work that we've done. And then given that opportunity, I'm so proud of the people in Program 2, what they've been able to achieve with all the challenges. And we're going to hear from quite a number of them over the course of today. Tomorrow we have a program meeting where we try and look at the directions. You've heard from Paul. You know, we've got some stuff in the cupboard that we want to promote, but as the funds roll down, how do we bring those new funds to play into the pool, and what do we focus on most specifically? So, yeah, look, I changed the poster boy, so I'm the new poster boy there with my nice cap on. I've gone through 3 of those caps. I just love a cap that just says soil. I know the CRC's on there, but that's about cooperating through soil. Great to hear about all the work in Program 1 and just how diverse the soil CRC is. So next slide. So what did I do? The green one, yep. Okay, so just to remind you, you come from the soil. You've got about a couple of kilograms of calcium in you that came from the soil, your brain. So we're having this conversation. You're listening to me based on the potassium that's come out of the soil that allows neural transport in your brain. So you come from the soil and you return to it. So my question to all of you and to the Australian public is, will the soil be in a better or worse condition when you re-enter it? Okay, because you're only a temporary mobile protrusion of soil. And then my job in this program is how can we know? How can we make that a known instead of what is largely an unknown? Because like your health, we need to measure how it's changing and how that health is improving or deteriorating through time. That's what we're trying to solve. And soils are highly variable. Here's a nice picture from Tasmania of just how varied the landscape is. You can see there. And so this is one of the problems we're working with in our attempt to measure soil performance and see how it's going. So we need to have reliable indicators of soil properties and their variability in space and time if we're going to do this job and make soils better than they were when we found them. We need wider and more cost-effective means of doing this to make it achievable. And we need to know and show more clearly what these tests are telling us. What do they mean? Which ones are of more value or less value? And finally, we need to make that measurement fun and understandable for farmers and users so they can put those decisions into practice. And hopefully you'll see when you hear from some of our speakers today that we're achieving some of that, I think. So, yeah, overview of the program. What ought we measure? When, where, how, indeed. Nathan Robinson is helping us with that. He's got a team of people that are working with farmer groups to try and resolve that question, because one of the questions is what are the tests, what are the measures that farmers want to make decisions, to make good decisions. Farmers want reliable measures of soil biological health. We hear this message a lot. Now, we've been a bit slow getting this project up. We had a couple of false starts, but we've got Mick Rose from the department in New South Wales leading a very exciting team that I heard from yesterday. They had a very good meeting yesterday, working to try and discover the best ways forward for this that are scientifically backed and rigorous, but also of value and more widely applicable than some of the tests we've got so far. Soils are mostly space. Like this building, when you approach it, it looks imposing. Like this room, it's imposing, but it's mostly space. And most people forget that about soils. It's mostly holes. Soil is a holy thing. Okay. And it's within those holes in the soil that so many chemical and physical interactions go, where water's stored, where microbes live and paint the walls and clean the components, the pores within the soil. But Marcus Hardy from UTAS is leading a team that's helping us better understand the functions of those holes, those pores technically within the soil, whether they're still there, has the soil been compacted and squashed and we're actually losing those holes, or are they okay, are they still there? What's in them, how much moisture is held in there, and how can we take the energy with which that water's held in those pores, because some are bigger, some are smaller, to better understand how much water we need to add to get the outcomes we want for our crops. So Marcus is leading quite a big team and some very exciting stuff, which you'll hear about in a minute. So those holes, those soil holes, are also hold gas and exchange gases with the atmosphere. And one of the things we thought it was important to do was not just look at the physics of the soil or in the chemistry of the soil, which is very traditional sort of approaches, but also what are those gas exchanges, and can we extend that more readily to farmers in the field? And so Shane Powell and Rob Hardy, neither of them unfortunately can be here today, have developed a prototype of an electronic nose that can sense the gases coming out of the soil and help farmers better understand their functions and meanings using neural networks and complex analysis of the signals coming out of the soil at a nice cost-effective price. Labs are complex and distant, and so Liang Wang's leading a team of a range of very exciting projects, trying to shrink that laboratory and put it in the hands of farmers and take it to the field. And Professor Bredmore from UTAS is a big part of that and his team. And Ruben Ma, one of our PhD students, will be talking to you about that a little bit later today. That's very exciting work. Soils hold ions, charged ions, in an aqueous solution in the soil, these what we call nutrients. And Craig Lobsley's team in Queensland are working on better ways to be able to sense and measure that cost effectively on farm, and basically also connect that to some of the other measures, some of the other spatial measures we have of soil variation in the field. Communication from the soil to the outside world, from within the soil, so that we can get more sensors into fields and not have them damaged and eaten by pests and attacked. So we're looking at communication systems. The soil can actually start talking to the world, and Marcus again is involved with that, and Richard Ballard, both of those gentlemen are here. Soil data. Soil data can be tricky, it can get lost, it can be hard to understand. It needs to be extended in a useful way, and Peter Dalhurst, who unfortunately can't be with us today, he's ill, but Andrew McLeod's going to come and speak to that. He's leading a team that are trying to help farmers better store, better visualise and follow data trends through the VAS project, the Visualising Australasian Soils, and we'll hear about that in a minute. Also across the whole CRC, not just in our program, there's a lot of data being collected, and Nathan Robinson's running another project for us with a team exploring better ways to protect, use and share this data that we're all collecting, and he will be speaking to that, and he's got a survey which I hope you can help us better understand your needs and how we manage that data into the future. All right, so one of the big things and the things that I'm very proud of is the research higher degree students in the program. We've got a lot of very capable students kicking goals for us. All of these students are here today from those various organisations, and so please say hello to them. I won't get them all to stand up, but that's, as Michael pointed out, we started with 3 and there's a long list of folks there. Here's a picture of a few of them. Rob Hardy on the top right, he's got the E-nose out there at UTAS. Richard Ballard there, Phil Kay working in the laboratory, there's Liang Wang, and the paddock looking to the soil profile, and you'll hear from Ruben later today. I won't talk to that, but that's what we'll be discussing tomorrow, what we've got done well, what we need to do better, and if you want to come and help us do that, tomorrow we'll be looking at the program's achievements, but also its future, and see what we need to do better and what we need to do less of and what we need to do more of. So there's more this afternoon with some of the other PhD speakers, so thank you.